Good evening and welcome to the City of Pasco Council meeting. The council thanks you for being part of our city government. At meetings, the city council takes formal actions on items, holds public hearings, and conducts other business of the city. Following Governor Inslee's recent statewide mask mandate, facial masks are required to be worn at all times while in the council chambers. If any individual is unable to comply with this order, then the meeting will be recessed until compliance is met. If compliance is not met, then the individual refuses to leave the chambers, then the meeting either will recess and reconvene only virtually or be adjourned. Agenda packets are available on the City of Pasco's website at www.pasco-wa.gov/agenda. And please note that the City Council meetings may be accessed through GoToWebinar. This meeting is also being televised live on Pasco TV, channel 191, on Spectrum Cable in Pasco and Richland, and is streamed on the city's Facebook page, website, and YouTube channel. This and previous council meeting video is available on the city's website. And lastly, the public may submit their comments and or questions by contacting the city manager, city clerk, or by using the Ask Pasco app. And with housekeeping issues out of the way, I'd like to have a roll call, please.
Council members Alvarado.
Alvarado is excused tonight.
Okay. Maloney.
I go present.
Thank you. Milne.
Present.
Roach.
Present.
Serrano.
I am here.
Mayor Pro Tem Barajas.
Present.
And Mayor Martinez.
Present. Thank you so much. Next, can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we'll go to the consent agenda, and all items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by a roll call vote as one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If further discussion is desired by council or the public, the item may be removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda and considered separately. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the Pasco City Council meeting held on October 4th, 2021, and workshop held on October 11th, 2021. Next is bills and communications to approve claims in a total amount of $2,444,673.88, and to approve bad debt write-off for utility billing, ambulance, cemetery, general accounts, miscellaneous accounts, and municipal accounts, accounts receivable in the total amount of $282,358.32, and of that amount, authorize zero to be turned over for collection. Next item is to approve the 2022 marketing plan and operating budget for the tourism promotion area in the total amount of $1,871,914. Next item is to approve resolution number 4101, authorizing the city manager to sign and execute amendment number 1 to the term building lease between the Port of Pasco and the City of Pasco, and to approve a resolution number 4102, approving the acceptance of amendment number 1 to the TCA Professional Services Agreement for station number 85 design. And also to approve resolution number 4103, authorizing execution of the $10 million loan agreement with the Public Works Board for the Zone 3 Reservoir Storage Tank Project. And those are items on the consent agenda. And if there's no questions or comments from council or the public, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
So there's been a motion to approve the consent agenda as read. Do I hear a second?
This is Councilman Milne. I'll second that.
It's seconded by Councilmember Milne. So can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Milne.
Yes.
Roach.
Yes.
Serrano.
Yes.
Maloney.
Yes.
Barajas.
Yes.
And Martinez.
Yes. So it passes unanimously. Thank you. And next we'll go to item number 5, proclamations and acknowledgements, and there's none listed tonight. So we'll move on to item number 6, which is a visitor other than agenda items. So this item is again provided to allow citizens the opportunity to bring items to the attention of the city council or to express an opinion on an issue. Its purpose is not to provide a venue for debate or for the posing of questions with the expectation of an immediate response. Some questions require consideration by the council over time and after a deliberative process with input from a number of different sources. Some questions are best directed to staff members who have access to specific information. Citizens' comments will normally be limited to 3 minutes, each by the mayor, and those with lengthy messages are invited to summarize their comments and or submit in writing information for consideration by the council outside of formal meetings. So with that, I believe there is some public comment here tonight, so I would go ahead and allow for the first person to come up. Good evening, Mr. Morales.
Good evening. I was going to talk about something else, but the first thing I'm going to say is that what you guys did 2 weeks ago, I've been getting a lot of emails and text message saying that we did, and I just got to say that the city council was the one who did it. You guys did a wonderful job. Got 10 pass. Now we need to focus on code enforcement. It's happening to me, happens to a lot of people before. I'm going to talk about my experience. Before I met a few different people, the way I was thinking was that the code enforcement people were racist. Because, most business that I know is Latin people. And they keep saying, no, they did this to me, and did this to me, and did this to me. And I was like, oh, there's a bunch of racist people. Now I met different other people, and I figured out that it's not about racism, though. It's about power. The code enforcement people have too much power. And they keep moving. It happened to me, and it happened to more than 20 people I have talked to. The code enforcement come to the businesses and say, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. And then 5 months later, when they do the stuff, they come back and say, oh, wait, but you need to, now because you do this, you need to fix this and this and that. And you will understand me. You are a business person. And and let me get this is clear. I understand about code enforcement. I understand about rules. I understand about people have to get their buildings in code and everything. I understand all that. We all want to follow the rules, but it has to be. The city of Pasco has to become more helpful to businesses when they come out and say, like me, they come out and say, hey, you need this and that and that, and then he says, oh no, I didn't know you had a basement. Oh well. You should know how to basement. You know what I mean? And then, like right now, I reach out to the code people and I say, hey, they changed C2. What can I do now? We are sprinklers. What can I do in the front? And the response was like, oh, how about if you submit 3 or 4 different things that you want to do, and we can approve one of those, or we can tell you why. Why isn't the city of Pasco become a business hub and come to me and say, hey, Leo, now the C2 is not in place, but you don't have the sprinklers, you don't have this. This is what you can do in your business. You can have so many sitting, you can do karaoke, you cannot do this. Why is me trying to figure out something, and then the code enforcement come out and say, oh yeah, you can do this. And then when I fix everything to do that part, they come out and say, oh no, you need to do this, because you fix this, now you need to fix this. Is any way that you guys can come out with the people and try to help business more, instead of like, hey, I'm the power, I'm the one who can change stuff and the fly, and nothing happens. That's my comment, though. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Morales. Just thinking, next, please.
Good evening, City Council. Stephen Bauman, thank you for this opportunity. I've got several questions here. The first one that I've asked before, still haven't got any answer to, is I'd like to understand, could we the people from the public please have an explanation of why the City Council is not in the City Council chambers? Okay. Silence speaks volumes. Last Monday night, we had a very well-done report on the citizens of Pasco, done by the Code Enforcement Board, talking about the behavior of the citizens of Pasco. So I have a question. Would the city of Pasco be willing to add to the Ask Pasco app a place for us to put our complaints or our I guess to do a report on the city of Pasco? And if you would be willing to do that, I believe that it should have a anonymous way to do that. There's people that are very intimidated. I talked to 3 people before the meeting tonight that are not here to speak to you tonight because they were intimidated by staff of Pasco. And I think that that would be very helpful if there was a way to do that. We got a report card from the code enforcement of how we're behaving, and I think it would be well to have that for the staff of Pasco. The last thing, we had a very amazing presentation given to us last Monday night at the workshop meeting. Last week's presentation by the planning department was nothing short of amazing. From the details and the graphics, it was very well presented. However, for the city to identify the problems and spell out the solutions, I don't believe is the proper way to do things without proper process. I don't know of anybody, I'm sure that there is, but I don't know of anybody in the development world that is more involved in Pasco than myself. I go to all of the monthly development meetings and pay close attention. I'm very involved. You see me here. And last Monday night was the first time I heard of these issues presented. And I believe that you need to be very careful as city council to take this on as the staff both presented the problem and the solution to that. From telling a car wash that they can't buy premium property on the corner of a busy intersection because the staff feels like that's too big of a risk. Private property owners need to have the ability to design. You can identify the problems, I appreciate that, but give private business the opportunity to present a solution, not just say you can't do it. And I have one example, it'll be very fast. I'm in the process of developing the Harris Farm. It'll be roughly 500 lots. And in our very long process that it's taken to get to this point, we presented to the city staff and we were told that we were out of compliance because we had, on our plan, there was too many guest parking stalls in our subdivision. I understand what minimums are, the minimum size of a parking stall, the minimum width of a road, the minimum width of an easement. I understand minimums, but for the staff of the city of Pasco to get the Pasco City Council to put something in like maximums for the number of parking stalls that private businesses puts in a private development that they think is out of line. And I say that with the last week's presentation because I appreciate staff's concern, but for them to identify the problem and force the solution, I believe is out of line. And I believe council needs to address that. Thank you very much. And I certainly would like an explanation of why our staff, or why our council that we elected to represent us won't come to city council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bauman. Go ahead.
Hello, thank you for having us tonight. My name is Amanda Lorraine. I'm the executive director and founder of Grace Kitchen. If you haven't heard of Grace Kitchen, we purchased the old Union Gospel Mission Men's Shelter on 2nd Avenue in March of 2020, and we have renovated that building. So we are a job training, employment, mentoring program for marginalized women in our community. We provide jobs for women coming out of human trafficking, homelessness, and poverty. We equip them with marketable skills so that they, in turn, can make a sustainable wage to rise out of poverty, stand on their own 2 feet, and support their families apart from having to rely on these systems of government dependency and destructive relationships. As you know, that building is historic. It was built in 1913. Our community partners have embraced the vision of Grace Kitchen. We've provided over 5,000 hours of job training to women right here in downtown Pasco. We've already hired 6 women into our program. We've been in the news multiple times, the Business Journal. Our community partners include Envoy Mortgage, Berkshire Hathaway, Lowe's, Country Mercantile, Greg's, the Trust Company, Women Helping Women, Patan Wealth, many small local businesses in our area, Faith Tri-Cities, Bethel, C3, and many other churches, as well as many financial individual investors in Grace Kitchen. So this year we received a grant to launch our barista job training program because we are seeing an overwhelming amount of women walking in our doors that want to have their lives changed. At first, I reached out to the building department to make sure we were zoned to do that. They said we were, and they seemed on board with our proposal. In fact, yeah, they said we were completely good to go with that. We submitted permits. It's been months of going back and forth with code enforcement, with Ben Mose and Troy, and they were assuring me that everything was fine. And all this time, I'm needing to comply to the grant money that I had received. They even called to have us scale down the drawings to only 14 feet of foot traffic, which we complied to as well. On September 23rd, we received an email for a permit hold, and now they have notified us that we will need to have a fire suppression system on all 3 floors of our 8,200 square foot facility in order to launch our barista job training program. So Councilman Mahoney, I will be calling you. City Manager Dave Zabel, I'll be reaching out to April Colwell to set up a meeting tomorrow, and all the other council members, I'll be following up with an email to each of you this week as well. So thank you guys so much for your service to the City of Pasco, and we look forward, Grace Kitchen looks forward to a beautiful community partnership with you guys. Would it be okay if I left a brochure about our organization with everyone?
Absolutely.
Can I?
Absolutely, you can leave it with the clerk here, and then
Sure.
and she'll get it to all the council members.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. Yeah, well, I'm glad you can reach out and get with the manager and have those discussions, because I know we're working on trying to get assistance for those types of fire suppression systems in those old buildings. So looking forward. Mr. City Manager Dave Zabel, do you have any comments?
Well, Mayor and the council, we had the opportunity to chat before the meeting, and we'll be setting up a meeting hopefully later this week,
Okay, thank you.
if not early next week.
Thank you. Sir?
Carl Holder, 402 West Lewis. I've personally been a supporter of Grace Kitchen. She's made presentations to the Pasco Kennewick Rotary Club. You know, we're fully supportive. It's a great addition to downtown Pasco, and I feel like she has been treaded upon by code enforcement and the fire code and the jumbo mumbo of the regulations that she has to jump through to do a minimum but a great job for our community, and give her some slack. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council members, hello. Thank you for your service. My name is Devin Lorraine. I'm the co-founder of Grace Kitchen. Trying to pull myself together here a little bit. Since birthing this vision, both my wife and I have worked closely with the Union Gospel Mission. We were both chaplains there and saw the great need for job and employment for women living in poverty who are coming out of prison or out of trafficking and things like this. This is where this vision was birthed out of us actually being involved and seeing the need for it. Launching into this has been beautiful because we've seen so much community support from the city. Many different, I feel like, silos potentially within the city of Pasco have been very, very, very helpful. The police department, Department of Corrections we work with, and all the rest. But with code enforcement, again, I'm sorry to say this. I have heard them speak to my wife on the phone in a way that is condescending, and in a way that was, unfortunately, like a bully, like bullying her. And then when I speak to them on the phone, they don't speak to me that way. And that is disheartening. And I don't mean to disparage anybody, or certainly I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody, but this is what I've personally have witnessed, and it was disheartening to me. So that is what I wanted to share. I'm a disabled veteran. I've been in full-time ministry and a pastor for 20 years. And what I've witnessed in this arena with my wife and going through this has been very, very difficult. So I share that with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Can I speak a second time?
Mr. Baumann, I'll allow it, but just please make it real brief. I want to be respectful, as you guys have been respectful in bringing these concerns. I appreciate so much your professionalism, and I'm going to tell you that, you know, unfortunately in government it just seems like it takes a long time, but we're gonna look at every one of these issues. Mr. Baumann.
Thank you. Let me speak again. I'll be very, very brief. So myself and a couple other people that are in the community here in Pasco have tried diligently to try to understand this issue that we keep running into, like Grace Kitchen is talking about, and we can't find where that building is required to have a fire suppression system. It's over 100 years old, and there's a process that identifies that and et cetera. So my request is that you would have the building department, code enforcement, whoever is laying those rules at the feet of all these businesses, have them give a presentation that is satisfactory to you, that you can say, yes, a fire suppression system in this building is required. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baumann.
Can I say something quick?
That's the.
When she was talking about being bullied, they come from the people. I mean, I'm not scared of them. They hang out in front of me twice.
Okay.
They don't like what you said, and they just hang out in front of you. And that makes me as a business person I can feel like when he was talking about it, I was want to cry because if they do it to me, I imagine what they do to her. Right. Troy hang out in front of me twice, only because he didn't like what I have to say.
Okay.
And I guess the city has to do something about it.
We'll look into that. Thank you.
Would I please be able to say one more comment? Am I able to read an email from Troy, or is that not appropriate?
Let's if you want to go ahead and turn that email into the clerk so we can all have it, and we'll look at it that way, because I gotta move on with the meeting. Okay. So thank you very much. But yeah, you can send that email over to the clerk and we can take a look at it.
Forward that on.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you again for being respectful and professional in your comments. And I think I can speak for the council that we will we take those comments seriously, and we're going to do what we can to see what we can find out about each one of those comments. Thank you. All right. Next, we'll move on to reports from committees and/or officers. Any of the council members would like to report on anything they did last week or anytime?
This is Councilmember Maloney.
Yes, Councilmember Maloney.
Thank you, Mayor Martinez. I guess I'll just report real quickly on having attended and helped, run the Pasco Taco Crawl. We wrapped up this last Saturday. There was a couple of hiccups in getting everyone booklets. The USPS was not as reliable as it once was. So there's some delays in that, but nonetheless, over 8,000 tacos were eaten over the last couple of weeks. And again, this is all for businesses east of 395 and north of the river. So raised a goodly amount of money for the Boys and Girls Clubs. The exact figures will be worked out soon. But very excited that so many people from around the community were able to come down to downtown Pasco and kind of the central and eastern part of Pasco and participate and visit our businesses. And we've already seen people coming back for more. So, I think it was very successful to try to highlight, in spite of our historical difficulties in our city, that really invite the whole community to come down and enjoy, the culture and the people and the delicious food that we have to offer. So, just wanted to report on that for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Councilmember Maloney. Appreciate it. Anybody else?
This is Councilmember Roach, and just want to say that myself, Councilmember Maloney, and Mayor, we were all at the Regional Public Facilities District meeting last week, and got things going again. Set a regular meeting date twice a year, and that was about it, I think.
Thank you, Councilwoman Roach, and then thank you, Mr. Maloney, for leading that meeting and I guess I'll say volunteering or agreeing to take charge of that committee for this following year, and appreciate your diligence in leading that meeting. Also, is there anybody else? Well, the only other thing that I would like to mention is on Wednesday, the day after tomorrow, there will be a State of the Cities address by the 4 mayors in the greater Tri-Cities, Quad Cities, if you will, and just prepared for that, and just want to invite everybody to take a look at that so you can kind of see what's going on in the cities that surround us and in Pasco as well. And appreciate John Funfar for taking a lead on getting that recorded, and I'm sure it's going to be a good product for the city of Pasco. Anybody else? One last call. Then we'll go right on to hearings and council actions on ordinances and resolutions relating thereto, and there's none listed. So we'll go to ordinances and resolutions not relating to hearings. And tonight we have a surplus of city property on Road 40 East. And Director Radkai, would you like to start us off or kick us off?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Good evening, Zach Radkai, Administrative and Community Services Director. So the item brought before you is a resolution to surplus this property. It's more formally known as, doesn't have an address as it's vacant land, but it's parcel number 112-540-019, according to the Franklin County Assessor. So for the last number of years, the city of Pasco has identified and designated certain city-owned parcels as surplus to city needs, and we put them up for sale. Parcels in this surplus pool have ranged from civic use sites to remaindered parcels after roadways get realigned. And recently we've built an inventory of city-owned parcels to really determine which remains in surplus status, which ones are available for sale. And we wish to pass this resolution this evening, declaring this property surplus to city needs and for sale.
Thank you, Director Radcliffe, for that report. Council members, any questions or comments? If not, then I'll entertain a motion.
Absolutely, Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 4104, approving the surplus of certain real property on Road 40 East, and further authorize the city manager to sell the property through realtor listing for a minimum price determined through market analysis.
So there's been a motion to approve resolution number 4104. Do I hear a second?
Serrano, second.
Seconded by Councilmember Serrano. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Passes unanimously. Thank you. And next, another one from Director Radkai on the sale of the property.
All right, now that we have this property surplus from the previous action, over the past year, just a little bit of background and history out here. the city's received increased industrial interest in land for industrial buyers at the city of Pasco. And we've received a number of general inquiries on the property that's up on your screen that we had just passed through surplus resolution. The city has listed this property and provided a deadline for proposals on that was Monday, September 20th. And the city received 2 offers for purchase of this property. Both of them came in at $2.8 million. The city had tentatively accepted one of the offers, and an agreement could not be reached with the first offer that was accepted. Due to the immense interest on this property, the second party, the second offer party, which was Tarragon Properties LLC, increased their purchase offer to the city from $2.8 million to $3.3 million. The city, after discussion with City Council on October 11th, has accepted the offer for purchase from Tarragon Properties LLC. And included within your written staff report is a resolution accepting this offer and a purchase and sale agreement to begin the sale of this property to Tarragon Properties LLC. And I'll take any questions of council at this time.
Thank you, Director Ake. Questions or comments from the council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Absolutely, Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 4105, approving the sale of certain real property on Road 40 East.
So there's a motion to approve resolution number 4105. Do I hear a second?
This is Councilman Milne. I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilmember Milne. So all those in favor to approve resolution number 4105 signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
say, opposed, say nay. It passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you for that, council. Next, we'll go to unfinished business, none listed. And there's nothing listed under new business. And the next, we go to miscellaneous discussion. City Manager Dave Zabel, would you like to start?
Yes, Mayor, thank you, and good evening again, Mayor, Council. I did have a few things I wanted to kind of go over. One is an interesting story. Spokane Teachers Credit Union ribbon cutting, which is a belated opening, and I think most of us are pretty familiar with that building out on Road 68, and that it's actually been operating for quite some time. And they had a very, I think, robust ribbon cutting planned at the time, and then COVID hit us. And so they see this as an opportunity to, rather than try to do something light, to stick with their original plan, and they're feeling like conditions are better now. I think we're all seeing that. So October 27th, 4 to 6 p.m., and that's at 5677 North Road 68. I don't recall the specifics right now, but I remember at the time talking about him. It was going to be a pretty impressive event. Tri-City and Pasco Chambers both putting that on, and Hispanic Chamber. So all 3 of the chambers involved, and I think that'll be a great opportunity for the community to wish this new business luck. Secondly, I did want to, there's a couple of things that came up under visitor section. So the Ask Pasco question, I'm going to ask Director Sigdell, who's been kind of point on getting our Ask Pasco application set up. And with that, Rita.
Thank you, Mr. Zabel. And Mayor, our Ask Pasco app, first, we really appreciate our residents using it. And secondly, there is a section to contact any of our departments, and you can absolutely do that anonymously. So there's several ways to go about it. We're going to put some maybe more information around that, but pretty much on the front page of the app itself, you will see a button that'll allow you to submit any request anonymously. And we will not have any way to contact you back. Obviously, that would be the point, but you can be assured that any complaints would reach to us, and you can do that with each department. So like, for example, city manager, police, fire, code enforcement, things like that.
I think the one thing to keep in mind if you're going to use the app anonymously is that you're not going to be able to hear back on the progress of your complaint. If you sign up and use your name and your email address and so forth, then you're gonna keep getting noticed on the particular item you might be interested in as progress occurs, up to and including resolution. So then secondly, I wanted to just talk a little bit, and Mayor, I wanted to actually commend you on visitor section. More and more I think cities are seeing people wanting to use the visitor section as an opportunity to debate council members and call them out and so forth, and is greatest amount of respect to the audience. Absolutely understand the need and the desire for answers to their questions that they have right now. And I think that's a natural thing for people coming in here, especially folks that may not be familiar with the city and how it works. I think, all of you are experienced enough to know is that if you allow that to occur unchecked, you're going to be spending much of your meeting in these back and forths in a visitor section. I appreciated Mr. Bauman's comment about bringing back fire suppression as a workshop item. That's a really good way. I thought his suggestion was really good. I wrote that note down myself. Talk about tomorrow with some staff. That's a really good way to be able to get back with a holistic, well thought out answer. So council and the public that are interested in these things can get the full picture rather than a quick back and forth that sometimes could get lost in translation and may not be complete in the heat of exchanges that might happen. So I just really wanted to comment and thank you, Mayor, for your conduct, how you conducted that part of the meeting tonight, and as well as the rest of the council. And that's all I had for miscellaneous.
Thank you, City Manager Dave Zabel. I would, I'm not going to use the word assume, but I would trust that, these anonymous, and I have been through there, and I thought I did see a place where they could make those anonymous comments. But yes, if maybe you could make it more clear in the beginning, that would be wonderful, as you had indicated, and trust that at some periodic basis that, perhaps maybe at the retreat, you can, that would be one of the items that they would go over, the retreat that we have every 2 years to set our goals, that we can go over and maybe review and go over how many, and obviously that would be a good tool for you to use to do some further investigation on any of the complaints that are made. So yes, thank you for that, and looking forward to ensuring that gets improved in some way. So thank you, City Manager Dave Zabel. And I wanted to make one other note here, and you did mention it was the STCU ribbon cutting ceremonies on the 27th of October.
That's correct.
Yes, and I'm only bringing that up because there was a message that went out today that they thought they put it on the calendar for the 20th, which was this Wednesday, and I hope nobody got confused with that if anybody else saw it, because I know he went in and corrected it after I called him. So I just wanted to make that point. It's October 27th, not to confuse that. So thank you. Anything else from council on miscellaneous items?
Just a quick comment, Mayor. This is Mayor Pro Tem Barajas. Not sure if Amanda and her husband are still there from Grace Kitchen.
They are not.
They are not. Well, either way, I would like to invite council and staff to come by Grace Kitchen. Thursdays they do lunch, just so you can learn and see what they're doing for the community, what they're doing for the women that they help out. And they do accept donations. They make very great food. So I would invite you all to swing by on a Thursday for lunch and just drop in and get a tour of the facility and get a taste of their great food. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Barajas. Okay, if nothing else.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Councilmember Maloney.
Thank you, Mayor Martinez. Just real quick, Mr. Zabel, we've heard a number of discussion points around code enforcement for quite some time, and I'm positive this is common in every city. There's, I I'm trying to imagine a city department that is probably less liked than code enforcement is. You know, in spite of them doing a very necessary and important job, you know, and also overseen by a code enforcement board made up of citizen appointees to help oversee and understand, you know, when there can be flexibility for code enforcement. But Mr. Zabel, could you look into the possibility of us doing an external review of our code enforcement practices, policies, and simply and to some extent, what we have in our code that the city council has, you know, ability to change? I think it might do the entire community and our city some good to have an external set of eyes take a look at how we're doing these things, and so that we can perhaps have someone who's, you know, you're only here for a little bit and able to look in from the outside instead of an internal review on this process to see how we're doing and what opportunities there might be for improvement.
Yeah, actually, we have been working with the consultant. Let me talk to Director White. He's not here this evening, but I can get with him tomorrow and see where we're at with that on basically a customer service effort. And so some of that work has been done, not necessarily from a third-party independent review, is what I'm kind of sensing you were looking for, but I think some of that kind of work is being looked at. Let me follow up with that, and then if okay with the rest of the council, I can talk to Mr. Maloney offline and then get back with the rest of the council as well, okay, as to what we chatted about.
That would be appreciated.
Great. And Mr. Zabel, for in this case, because we're having such community concerns, I'd ask for a very transparent process where we understand the scope ahead of time, et cetera, so that the city council has a role in shaping what exactly that looks like. You know, so that not by any means to disparage any work that you and your staff are doing or any of the contractors that you're looking at, just to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to, you know, understand the process it goes, so we don't have, you know, a lot of questions at the end of you know, why did they come to the conclusion of this, that, and the other thing. So just to appreciate those thoughts as well. Not asking for obviously tonight, just if there's a way we can look at that, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Maloney. One last call. Okay, then we're going to move into the next item, which is executive session. There is a need for executive session tonight. The consecutive section is a consideration of site selection and acquisition of real estate purchase or lease. If likelihood that disclosure would increase price per RCW 42.30.110(1)B, and the executive session is expected to last 10 minutes. So with that, it is 7:43, and we're going to be moving into executive session, and we'll come back and adjourn the meeting after the executive session. So with that, at 7:43, we'll be back at a minimum at, well, the 7:44 now, that's 54. So thank you very much. We're now going into executive session. Okay, we are now back into session, and we will go to the next item. And thank you all for joining us tonight. And this meeting is 7:53, and this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.